I have just said that the glory of a king is his power to outdo another king. The Bible says in 1 Kings, let's do 1 Kings now. 1 Kings chapter 10. 1 Kings chapter 10, move with me to verse 23. The Bible says, so King Solomon surpassed all the kings of the earth. In what? In what, church? In riches and wisdom. He surpassed all kings of the earth. And so a king would give another king a gift to show his glory. When you move to another kingdom as a king, you carry with you treasures from your kingdom to go and display the glory of your kingdom. So you give another king a gift to show your glory. The receiving king will have to give back a gift that will show that his glory is actually greater than yours. Some sort of a competition, looks like. And so whenever you visit a king, you must take a gift, even if you too are a king. You have to. Now let's read the story in verse 24 and 25. Listen. Now all the earth sought the presence of Solomon to hear his wisdom, which God had put in his heart. Each man, listen keenly, each man brought his present, articles of silver and gold, garments, armor, spices, horses and mules, and a set rate year by year. Whether you were a king, whether you were not a king, you had to appear before him with the gift. Solomon was the richest. Why would people visit him with gifts and he's the richest on earth? But they still did visit him with the gift. Giving places a demand on the king who received it. It places a demand on the wealth of the king. When you give, the king must give back. And what he gives back must show that his glory is greater than yours. So it places a demand on his wealth. He has to give you a gift in return. But his gift must show that his glory is greater than yours. He cannot give you the same thing you gave him. He cannot. Now follow with me the story. We are still in 1 Kings 10. Now follow with me from verse 1. Now when the queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord, she came to test him with hard questions. She came to Jerusalem. Listen to what this girl carried. She came to Jerusalem with a very great retinue. I've always been tempted to believe that those that came to see Jesus at his birth were not three people like we claim. Because the Bible does not say they were three. The Bible just says wise men. We conclude that they are three because they brought three gifts. That's why we conclude they were three. I doubt if they were three. It must have been a retinue. Because if Solomon was the greatest, and this is the kind of retinue that visited him, Christ to the Magi was the greatest they have ever heard. Chances are they were not three people. The Bible does not say three. Three is what you're thinking. She came to Jerusalem with a very great retinue, with camels camels that bore spices, very much gold. Do you know even the Bible does not tell us how much gold was brought? It just says they came with gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So when you see someone paint in a picture for a child to understand some small pack of gold, I doubt it. They must have come with real gold, lots of it. And precious stones. And when she came to Solomon, she spoke with him about all that was in her heart. So Solomon answered all her questions. There was nothing so difficult for the king that he could not explain it to her. And when the queen of Sheba had seen all the wisdom of Solomon, the house that he had done what? Built. So what is wrong in showing off your house as a king? The food on his table, the sitting of his servants, the service of his waiters, and the apparel. Apparel ya waiters, apparel ni nguo yao. Indicate you have a house help in the house who's in tattered clothes. And then you're showing off here how you're driving a big car. See that car you're driving? We should see it in your house, girl. As they serve, she's dressed properly. If you think any other dress can't fit her, do for them uniforms. I've walked into homes where we have 5, 6 servants. They are in pretty uniforms. They look good. They look dignified. With a nice apron. Marito kata pato mo wuth gongi. In fact, if you want to know people who brag they're rich, don't even listen to them. Just look at their house girls. You will know they're bragging about a glory that does not exist. His cupbearers and his entryway by which he went up to the house of the Lord, there was no more spirit in her. She saw the wealth of this guy and her spirit failed her. Isega wachoni, marato bet, marito hinga. Nilidhani tumefika, kumbe kuna wenye walishafanya nini? Tangole. Her spirit failed her. I always tell believers that Adventism is not cheap, if you thought so. Actually, those who say our things are expensive, you are very right. Because we don't serve a cheap God. Even the Sabbath keeping command tells you it's not a cheap thing. Let me digress. I hope they will add me 15 minutes. Let me just digress a little bit to tell you that Adventism is not cheap. So you shouldn't be coming here thinking you're a cheap child of God. Let me just show you, just from the 10 commandments, that we are not a cheap people. Say you're a royal priesthood. Exodus 20. We are not cheap. I'm still repackaging that message. I don't know how it will come out. 20, which is that verse? 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you shall do no work. You, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your what? Female servant. That alone should tell you Adventism is not cheap. How many servants do you have? Yourself. People counting servants here. How many do you have? Uko na wangapi? Sini mmoja ule unafenyelia. It's one and you're pressing her. People counting male and female servants. There's a girl to take care of the children. There's a girl to take care of the house. There's a girl to take care of the kitchen. And there is a man to take care of the farm. There is another man to take care of landscaping. Adventism is not cheap. Nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your what? Your what? Your gates. How many gates do you have? If not the rental house at Lolwe, which is not yours. How many do you have? An Adventist has a house in Mombasa, another in Nairobi. There's another one in Kisumu, and another one at Dala. So that when you go to Nairobi, you don't keep calling people, Abiro, Kikunin Chor. Then you want to stay there 1 week, sleeping in the sitting room, inconveniencing everyone. An Adventist has a home kept in Nairobi. It has servants. When she comes from Kisumu, she knows she's going to her house. Same to Mombasa. We went to Mombasa to have fun at the beach. Staying in whose house? How many gates do you have? You thought Adventism was cheap. And there is nothing cheap in this world. The truth is you are poor. That is the truth. If other people can buy it, who are using it is expensive. If you can't get it, the truth is you are what? Poor. You will see how you keep on bragging with your poverty. We'll see it. We are almost there. That was by the way. Tulifika verse ngapi? 5. There was no more spirit in her. So I thought I had. You mean there are people who have? Verse 6. Then she said to the king, it was a true report which I had in my own land about your words and your wisdom. However, I did not believe the words until I came and saw with my own eyes. And indeed, the half was not told me. Hey, what was told to the Queen of Sheba about Solomon? She's confirming it was not even half. It's not. Your wisdom and what? And prosperity exceed the fame of which I had. Happy are your men, and happy are these your servants who stand continually before and hear your wisdom. Happy are your servants. Is your servant happy? At times I pity a woman who wants to go and work for 15,000 a month and pay the house help 5,000. She's remaining with 10. Her fare alone for the whole month is how much? 100 by 20 is what? 2,000. Udongadi? 8. Her lunch, because it's only in the house she eats sukuma. At town, they eat kangane, kakwacha. Her lunch is not less than 300 per day. And even if it's an Adventist, they're always kajudi. 300 by 20 is what? 6,000. Odongadi. Elofareo. Can't your small brain tell you you'd rather stay at home and take care of your children? Because not even your house girl will look good. Your house girl will look as miserable as you are. Servants are serving here Solomon, and they are happy. If you meet a servant serving Solomon, you wouldn't know. You'd think they are the richest on earth. So why would you sacrifice the character of your children just for 2,000 in a month? Why? Sit home. In fact, you can get more money from fried chips at your doorstep than where you're going. Your problem is you want to be in a corporate suit. That is your problem. Nothing more. All you want is corporate suit. Last time I checked, there's no money in offices. Money is in the streets. Last time I checked. There's no money in the office. I can guarantee you that. Money is in the street. But you see, you can't just believe that with your master's degree, you want to be in the street. You can't believe it. So you would rather earn pennies to protect your paper. Pesa iko hapa nje. Nine. Blessed be the Lord your God, who delighted in you, setting you on the throne of Israel, because the Lord has loved Israel forever. Therefore, he made you king to do justice and righteousness. Listen to verse 10. Then she gave the king what? 120 talents of what? Gold. Spices in great quantity, and precious stones. There never again came such abundance of spices as the Queen of Sheba gave to King who? Any other visitor who came has never given what the Queen of Sheba gave. Never. People visit him every day, but no one has ever given what the Queen of Sheba gave. Listen, we are in verse what? 11. You better help me here. Also, the ships of Hiram, which brought gold from Ophir, brought great quantities of almag. Hiyo imetoka bado kwa Queen of Sheba. And I talk to my women, I tell you, you have no excuse. We can make 1 million per day if we want. From our homes. It's possible. It's the other day yesterday I was talking with Pastor Mbago, and I was telling him I'm tired living in town. I want to go and operate from home, Kiss, the way Rispa is enjoying home. Rispa was telling me, if you transfer her today, Rispa, I'm sorry, I know you will kill me, but do I care? If I transfer her, they transfer her today, she will quit her job. She has had a taste of what it means to own a what? A home. And Pastor Mbago was telling me, how will you manage? And I was arguing and saying, we live in Nairobi. People work in the city. They are in traffic jam for 3-4 hours, comfortably sleeping. I can use the 3-4 hours to drive from Matut to Central Nyanza every day. All I need is a car with big tires, which I must get. Yeah. Don't want things that when we get to Ahero, we are. No. So I was working out last night how much petrol I need. Not less than 100,000 per month. It's stuck in my head. I have to make money more that in my expenditures, fuel reads how much? 100,000. You don't have a goal, you have nothing to work for. Period. And I think I will manage. I will, by God's grace. I just want the fresh air at home. Have my things running. That's all I need. Tulikuwa wapi? Also the ships of Hiram, which brought gold from Ophir, brought great quantities of almug wood and precious stones from Ophir. And the king made steps of the almug wood. What is your house laid with? People are laying their houses with almug wood, gold. Yours is laid with what? Duracoat. Let's move on. And the king made steps of the I told you we must make a heaven on where? On earth. The king made steps of the almug wood for the house of the Lord, and for the king's house, also harps and stringed instruments for singers. There never again came such almug wood, nor has the like been seen to this day from the queen of Sheba. Listen to 13 now. You see the pressure she put on the king, giving places a demand on the king's wealth. He has to respond. Listen to verse 13. Now King Solomon gave the queen of Sheba all that she did what? She desired. Whatever she asked. And you know, this was after. Because the next statement says that besides what Solomon had given her, according to royal what? Generosity. It is royal protocol that when someone visits you as a queen, you must repay it. It's royal protocol. And you must repay it with something greater than what she gave you. So apart from what royal protocol would allow him to give, the Bible says he also gave her whatever she did what? She asked. So she turned and went to her own country, she and her servants. Her visit to royalty made her go back with more than what she came with. Praise the Lord. Now you can tell what she came with, we have been told. Now she got more than what she came with. Giving requires a response from the king. It's automatically required that the king must respond. No king will receive and not respond. And so if you want to get something from a king, common sense, all you need to do is do what? Give him something. He cannot give you he cannot give you what you gave him. You don't give to get, even with that understanding. Now that you know when you give, he must give. You don't give to get. You get because that is the natural response defined by royal protocol. It's automatic. You will get. It's a principle that cannot be broken. Once you give, you just have to get. And so giving to a king attracts his wealth to a giver. Your giving has activated the culture of you're forcing the king to respond, and his wealth has to move to whoever has given him a gift. Let me use the language of IT. There is something called enabling and disabling. Is it? Yeah. When you give, you have enabled something to happen. When you don't give, what happens? You've disabled. So the power is in whose hands? The king or you? Or you? It's you. The joy of it is that you know once you have presented it to him, you can leave because now the pressure is on him to decide what to give. Just bring it, leave it. The pressure, leave it with him. He will decide what to give. There is no audience you will ever get, no favor you will ever get, no justice you will ever get when you show up before royalty without a gift. Waswahili wanasema mikono mitupu haifanywi nini? Hairambwi. Na tumezoea mikono tupu. Hata ukiitwa housewarming wanakuja kufungua nyumba, wadhiuru wachie mkoro tedo. You can't even carry a hand towel. Adabu zako ni kidogo waje hivyo. Carry even a hand towel. Ati tunaenda housewarming kwa nani? Amejenga hapa riat ya jiogedo. Wadhiuru waket mesa. Gimotingo to. It's bad manners. And I've always said children of God need to always walk with something in their bag. Always walk with something. Even if you have to bless a small child with a gift, please do. Yeah, small child in church, they'll appreciate. Walk with something. You never know. We have reached halfway the sermon. Luke 6:38. Matthew, Mark, then Luke chapter 6, verse 38. Listen to what Christ said. Luke 6:38. Is it? Luke 6:38. Must have gotten a wrong verse. I'm opening John. Luke 6. Let's get to Luke 6:38. Luke 6. Christ knows this thing better than anyone. I'm reading part A only. 38. Give, and what will happen? And it shall be given to you. And when it is given to you, how does it look like? Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will be put into your bosom. Without giving, give. It's the law of giving. Mary, the one we talked of yesterday, Mary gave a costly alabaster flask of fragrant oil. Mark says it was a costly alabaster flask of spikenard oil. And what Christ gave in return cannot be compared to what she gave. Christ gave her a recognition that many generations to come cannot ignore it. You can't. He tells them, assuredly I say to you, wherever this gospel is preached in the whole world, what this woman has done will also be told as a what? A memorial to her. There's another interesting story in John chapter 4. John chapter 4 is an interesting story. John chapter 4, 1-14. Therefore, when the Lord knew that the Pharisees had heard that Jesus made and baptized more disciples than John, though Jesus himself did not baptize, but his disciples. This is another digression. I was just wondering that Jesus baptized many people, but in bracket it's saying what? It is not him, it is his what? Him, he only preached, and then those that went into the baptismal pool were his disciples. So at times I wonder when we have to complain about women ordination, we must also just preach. There are people who will baptize. You are the Christ. The rest that insist on baptism are the disciples. No, that is by the way. Let me not be misquoted anyway. He left Judea and departed again to Galilee. But he needed to go through where? Samaria. He has another place to go, but he must pass through Samaria. So he came to a city of Samaria, which is called Sychar, near the plot of ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Now Jacob's well was there. Jesus, therefore, being wearied from his journey, sat thus by the well. It was about the 6th hour. A woman of Samaria came to draw water. Jesus said to her, give me what? Give me a drink. For his disciples had gone away into the city to buy food. Then the woman of Samaria said to him, how is it that you, being a Jew, ask a drink from me, a Samaritan, a woman, a Samaritan woman? For Jews have no dealings with who? Samaritans. Jesus answered and said to her, if you knew the gift of God. Is someone getting where I'm headed? If you knew the gift of who? Of God. And who it is who says to you, give me a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water. The woman said to him, sir, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. Where then do you get that living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well and drank from it himself, as well as his sons and his livestock? Jesus answered and said to her, whoever drinks of this water will thirst again. But whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst. But the water that I shall give him will become in him a fountain of water springing up into everlasting life. I want you to compare what Christ is asking to be given and what he is willing to offer. Notice the attitude of the Samaritan woman. Christ is saying, give me a drink. Because the principle of receiving from a king demands that you do what? You give. She's still feeling sweet to Jesus. Do you even have something to draw water from the well? Have you heard those Christians who are not willing to give, but they're saying, let's see how they finish that church without our money? She's still feeling sweet. She's still bragging. She's still feeling in control. She's still feeling ownership. I mean, this thing is from our father Jacob. Who are you? Look at verse 10 once again. Look at verse 10 once again. Jesus answered and said to her, if you knew the gift of God and who it is who says to you, give me a drink, you would have asked him and he would have given you living water. If you knew the gift of God, it's greater than what I'm asking you. Because the king cannot give back what you gave. It must exceed your gift. So he's telling, if only you knew the gift of God that is still dangling, waiting for you to give fast. You just don't know. I'm tempted to think there are many blessings God has in store for us we have not received because we have not done what? Given. And then he tells her, and who it is who says to you, give me a drink. I mean, it is not King Solomon. You have no idea who's asking you for a drink. This is not King Solomon who owns a portion of the earth. It is the owner of what Solomon owns. He owns both heaven and earth. He owns you also. That is a person asking. If today you are told to take a gift to King Solomon and you'll say, let me carry all my wealth because I know he will double it. Is it? Yeah, because you know what Solomon owns. What if I told you take a gift to Jesus? He owns more than what Solomon owns. He owns heaven and earth. Haven't you heard that his kingdom also, the streets are made of what? Gold. The streets in his kingdom up there is overlaid with gold. John says gold polished to the extent it looks like glass. Not the gold of this earth. Then if that is who he is, I will carry my everything to him. Because I know what I will get is more than what I give. Christ is prompting this woman to activate, to enable the button that puts pressure on him to give. I have something to give you, but it's only released when you give. I wish you know what I'm about to release to you. Please give so that I release to you. When you give to a king, he's obligated to exceed your gift. You appear before him without a gift. This Sabbath, you simply failed to activate the culture of the kingdom. And so you can be so sure that next Sabbath, you will still have nothing to do with. When I started, I told you, be careful when you pray for people that God remember those who didn't have today. Be careful. Show up to God with anything you have. At least he will give you a gift greater to again subtract, bring next what? Next Sabbath. For as long as you keep showing up without, you keep on locking his storehouse. And you'll keep on showing without until Christ comes. Haven't you asked yourself, why is your tithe and offering always 2,000 every day? Since we started building Victory at Patel. Kanisa tulianza kita ofafa. Si ilikuwa ofafa. In mich kitchen niya kaniwa chako ofafa. Ena nalofakia pile. Sorry, keep showing up without. You will forever keep showing up without. There is no increase in your store. Nothing. Prayer alone cannot activate the kingdom culture of response to gifts. It's only activated by giving. My mother is attending because this morning she was telling me, Adiambo, someone brought, why did I tell you my other name? Someone has brought hot pots, a whole set in a box as Mitch Kije. Someone has brought. You're still saying I don't have cash. And did the Queen of Sheba bring cash? Even spices she brought. And I think that is why we are here today, to receive the gifts of God in kind. It's so biblical. And she was telling me another woman brought some clothes in a bag. I'm imagining it could be a boutique of clothes. She's thinking, what do I give God and I don't have money? Let me pick all these clothes. Why do I keep on stepping on this thing? Sorry. You're still battling. What do I give? There is so much in your treasures to give to God. I thought about it this morning and I said, God, what will the Mokoros give this community? Allow me to finish with Matthew chapter 10. Matthew 10, 40, 42. He who receives you receives me. And he who receives me receives him who sent me. Christ is talking to his disciples. If there is anyone who will receive a disciple of Christ, has received Jesus. And they have not only received Jesus, they have also received who? His Father. It means heaven is dwelling in your house. At times I have a problem with members who are afraid of pastor visiting their house. You didn't know what you're missing. When a man of God visits your house, you just have no idea what you're missing. You're missing heaven in your house. It says, he who receives me, you receives me and receives the one that sent me. For you, it is inconvenience. I don't know if you grew up in the days of Kinarispa, when they saw pastor without appointment. You want an appointment. Pastor, you didn't tell me you're coming. Those people would rush from the shamba. Is it? To go and attend to the pastor. They knew he came with heaven. You think he has come to take your porridge? He had come with heaven, Christ and his Father. 41 and 42 will blow your mind. He who receives a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's what? Reward. You receive a prophet in the name of a prophet. The reward meant for the prophet, you also get it. Hakuna kazi umefanya, you just received. And today I understand why when certain speakers go to speak in a church, members are actually competing who will host the speaker for dinner. They know what it means. They know the reward of the speaker is also theirs. Tikasiria kasa aonge kombe, aonge sende. And he who receives a righteous man in the name of a righteous man shall have a righteous man's what? Reward. Listen to 42. And whoever gives one of these little ones only a cup of what? Not even mchele and your ganda that you think we are coming to finish. Just said, a cup of what? They are not coming to eat. Just say, and that is, last time I was here, I told you, when visitors come to your house, don't just look at them. Even if you have nothing, do for them turungi ya soya. They go. But let us pray. Visitors have come. So corona na dindin, come we pray. Visitors have come. Then we start praying. God, visitors have blessed us. May their feet leave a ngoa. Which one? And after they say, hey, Mama Sokoro, what can we help you pray? Pray for my husband. Pray for my children. We have a sick what? Blah, 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 blah. And they pray. And then you say, oh, wadado kenni ubiro moleo. Da tedonu chieni. Can't you even lie to them, deceive them with water from the dispenser? The Lord saying, even a cup of cold water. In the name of a disciple, assuredly, I guarantee you, I say to you, he shall by no means lose his what? Reward. You can't. I think it was on Monday when I was walking to my house, I met some victory members. And we walked with some 2 more going down my house. And then we met some victory members selling bread. I think you know her. And then this guy said, Mina Pastor Mkati. And the other lady we were with also, Ebe Mina go Mkati. Then Shepherdess showed up. Where's Shepherdess? Shepherdess. Am I lying? He also said, give also to Shepherdess. And I said in my heart, this guy does not know what he has done. He has no idea. Him is just buying bread. I'm not saying you start giving me gifts here. I'm preaching the word. This guy has no idea what he did. That whatever is on them, on the disciple, whatever, it doesn't matter. Whatever is on the righteous man will come on you automatically. Not that they have something to give you when you give them a gift, but there's a blessing that God has placed on their lives by virtue of the fact that they are his servants. That blessing that God has placed in their lives automatically spills to you. Back in those days, when the children of God would harvest, the servant of God must do what? Must eat. Before they begin to eat. You keep on telling us, how can you reap where you didn't sow? They milked their cows. They make sure their pastor got even a liter. They harvested. They made sure there were 2 bags in his house. You thought they had much to give. No, they knew the principle. They knew the blessing that lies on this pastor is automatically my blessing. As I finish, let me finish. I'm not sure why I wrote this verse, but let me just use it. 2 Kings chapter 4. 2 Kings 4. Hey, I'm now misbehaving. Just allow me to misbehave 3 minutes. 2 Kings 4. 8 to 17. Now it happened one day that Elisha went to Shunem, where there was a notable woman, and she persuaded him to eat some food. Persuaded. Persuaded. You're seeing how fast elders can move out of your house. They're inconveniencing you, and Maria is almost starting. So it was, as often as he passed by, he would turn in there to eat some food. Anytime Elisha passed by there, he had to turn in and eat food. And she said to her husband, look now. She felt the food is not enough. Convinced her husband, look now. I know that this is what? This is what? A holy man of God who passes by us regularly. Please, let us make a small upper room on the wall and let us put a bed for him there and a table and a chair and a lampstand. So it will be, whenever he comes to us, he can turn in there. The saying is not enough to give this guy food. We don't even know which hotel he's going to sleep. Let him lodge in our house. Can you do that today? You can't. I doubt it. Please, we are in verse 11. And it happened one day that he came there and he turned into the upper room and lay down there. Then he said to Gehazi, his servant, call this Shunammite woman. When he had called her, she stood before him and he said to him, say now to her. He's speaking through Gehazi. Look, you have been concerned for us with all this care. What can I do for you? You have been too good to us. Mention anything you want. What can I do for you? Do you want me to speak on your behalf to the king, to the commander of army? Or to the commander of the army? She answered, I dwell among my own people. So he said, what then is to be done for her? And Gehazi answered, it's Gehazi now opening his big mouth on behalf of this woman. Because Gehazi has been lodging there with Elisha and has noticed there are a few things that are missing. So Gehazi answered, actually, let me tell you, Elisha, she does not know what to say, but let me tell you the truth. She has no what? Son. And her husband is what? Her husband is old. I've always warned the young girls marrying old people. Who is 40 years older than you? Ellen White says, even the quality of children you bear are very low. Yeah, they give you seed with aflatoxin. And you still want to go. You've gotten a sponsor. That is what they say. Me, I want a man who has made. Now, this is not the case here. This is a couple that had stayed for long, and the man was old. The age of the man was enough to be a grandfather. It means their hope of having a child was gone. It's almost a case of Abraham and Sarah. I'm finishing. Yeah, I want to finishing. Please. You need to help me. Verse 15. So he said, call her. When he had called her, she stood in the doorway. Then he said, about this time next year, you shall embrace a what? A what? A what, church? A son. And she said, "No, my lord, man of God, do not lie to your maidservant." But the woman did what? Conceived and bore a son when the appointed time had come, of which Elijah had told her. You know the story. Got sick, died. Elisha came back and did what? Raised her back to life. The kingdom has a way of getting you blessed without working hard. It only requires you to work smart. Bless the people of God. Bless fellow believers in his house. You will never go wrong. There is no one who has ever given and remained poor. No one. The wise men who were considered Gentiles, through their gifts at Christ's birth, they just gave and left. I mean, Christ was just a child to even talk and say thank you. But what could Christ do at that moment? But you notice that many years later, their gift secured salvation to the Gentiles. I want to pray with someone who's battling in their heart like I'm battling. They're thinking, what do I give to the Lord? I told you I'm battling. I have no idea. We discussed with Mokoro, what do we give? We still don't know. And it's already Friday tomorrow. I want to speak to a child of God who's battling. They have no cash, they have nothing, but they're battling in their hearts. And they still want to give. I want to speak to that child, to pray with that someone.